I had several ideas, things I wanted to talk about in terms of math education, but I had no hook. And so then on the plane I realized I'm coming to Indianapolis, so I present the race for the checkered flag or a cheap exploitation of the conference location as a hook for an Ignite talk. The classroom are the car. The students are the car. All sorts of different kinds of cars. You have open wheel cars, you have beat up cars, you have cars from different countries, you have cars that struggle, and cars that go really fast. The driver is your teacher. Driver is the teacher. There we go. You have rookie drivers, you have experienced drivers. You have drivers who say, I've been driving for 30 years and you're not going to tell me that I have to drive differently now. We have teachers, but what are they all committed to? They all work hard and they're committed to success. Regardless of the driver, they all want to win. You are the crew chief. You're the one that gets all the blame and absolutely none of the credit. You're not in the newspaper and you're not on TV, but you have to make all the decisions. You have to make sure the car is properly prepared, that the driver is properly trained and prepared to race. You need to know the course. You need to know the expectations. You get to deal with owners and administrators. They determine how long is the race, where do you get to race, how much money do you get to prepare the driver and get the car ready, and they never give you what you really want. Moving along. In my hotel room, this timed a lot better. You also have to deal with fans. They're incredibly passionate. They're loud. They tell you what they want. They don't always have a full perspective. They're not always terribly rational, but they're right every time. And they always care about two things. The first thing they always care about is they want to back the champion. If you've ever been to a car race, everyone has their driver. They wear their little shirt. I had a picture I wanted to put up there. Somebody had actually shaved Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s number 3 into his back hair, and I thought that was a cool photo. So everyone wants to be on top. Everyone wants their school to be the headline in the newspaper, but unfortunately people also really like to watch wrecks. If you read the media about education, our successes, our champions, rarely make the front page. Our crises, our dramas, they're on the front page every time, because sadly not only do people want to be the best, they want to know someone's beneath them. There are an incredible number of variables that goes into a race. You got to know what the track is like. You have to know what the weather's going to be like. You have to know where are you starting in the field. You have to know what shape your engine is in. You have to pick an engine. You have to have a scope and sequence. You have to have a curriculum. Those things all change depending on the race, who your driver is, and what kind of car you're using in that race. It's an incredibly complex decision. You also have to pick the tools you need. No one ever wins a race because they have the best tires. But if you don't have the right tires, you're going to lose the race every time. So when it comes to picking the technology, picking the tools we're going to use, the software, of course, you're going to use Sketchpad. NASCAR came out with a couple years ago this thing called the car of tomorrow. They wanted to make racing cheaper, and they wanted to make more cars able to compete so that they're all the same. And so in math education, we have the car of tomorrow. It's called the Common Core. During the race, the driver and you as the crew chief make a ton of decisions. They have a ton of data. If you ever watch the race, they always have a computer screen where they keep up tire pressures, how much gas you have left in the tank, how are you drafting what's the wind, how are you drafting behind other cars. But ultimately you want to get the green flag racing. Thousands and thousands of decisions the driver makes every time. You would think it's relatively simple because they're only making 4 left turns and you're only teaching for 6 hours a day and you're teaching the same class all day. But however, you're making thousands of instant decisions based on all that data. Drivers also have what's called a spotter. They sit up at the top of the race and they spot down to give another perspective. Where's the traffic at? What cars are going slow? Hey, there's a wreck coming up. You need to get out of the way. You provide that. We as PD providers provide that communication from another view. We diagnose problems. If you go to a NASCAR race, you can get one of these little deals hook up and you can hear all the radio chatter between a driver. They're constantly diagnosing a problem. A driver will say, you know what? My classroom today, the kids really aren't getting this idea of mixed numbers as they're rounding the corner. Together, you work together to go in a pit stop where you have to quickly, cheaply, and efficiently fix the problem and get them back out in the race course. You don't all ever have to do that in BD because you have all the time you want and all the money you want to do it. I'm fully aware. But ultimately, though, what are they all after? They're all after the checkered flag. I put a question mark because what is the checkered flag in math education? Is it like everyone's going to do really well on the state test? Is it everyone's going to go to college? Or is it simply that aha moment when you know a kid's finally got it and they didn't get it before and now they get it? because that is the thrill of victory, where we get to stand on the stand and in here they pour milk over the top of your head, where you know you've achieved your goal, where you fulfilled your passion and brought kids to somewhere in mathematics they weren't before. So with that, ladies and gentlemen.
And gentlemen, start your